So, the IELTS reading test. A lot of people think, oh, that's the easy part, right? But looks can be seriously deceiving. Getting a top score isn't just about being a good reader. It's about having a killer strategy. And in this breakdown, we're going to crack the code on what you're really up against.
First up, what are we dealing with? Well, it starts with 3 long reading passages. And hey, these are not your average, light reads. We're talking dense stuff, pulled from academic journals and books. And yeah, they definitely get harder as you go.
And to go with those 3 heavy passages, you've got a whopping 40 questions to answer. That is a mountain of information to get through in a very, very short amount of time. And here's the kicker, the thing that gets everybody. You have just 60 minutes, that's 1 hour, to read everything, answer all 40 questions, and make sure every single answer is transferred correctly. That clock, it starts ticking the second you open that test booklet.
So with the setup like that, it really all boils down to one massive question. How on earth do you beat the clock? Because let's be real, this isn't just a reading test, it's a flat-out race.
So yeah, time absolutely feels like your enemy. But what if you could make it work for you? See, the secret isn't about magically finding more time. It's all about mastering the time you've got.
So many people go online looking for those quick tips and tricks, hoping for some kind of shortcut. But I'm going to give you the hard truth. Tips alone aren't going to cut it, not for a top score. What you need are real, powerful skills.
So what are these amazing skills I'm talking about? Well, let's call them your 3 secret weapons. Seriously, the entire test is basically built around these 3 core techniques, and if you can master them, you've got the key to the whole thing.
Okay, weapon number 1 is skimming. The best way to think about this, it's like when you glance at the headlines at a newspaper. You're not reading every single word, are you? No way. You're letting your eyes fly over the text to get the main idea, the general gist of it all. This is how you figure out what a paragraph is about in like 5 seconds flat.
All right, next up is scanning. This is basically your brain's built-in search engine, like hitting Control F on a web page. You already know what you're looking for, a name, a date, a keyword from the question. You just zap your eyes across the text to find exactly where it is. Now, this doesn't give you the answer, but it tells you where to find it, and that saves you a ton of time.
And finally, we have the most important one of all, close reading. This is your superpower. Once you've skimmed to get the gist and scanned to find the right spot, you switch gears. You zoom in. You read just a sentence or 2, but you read it super carefully, absorbing every single detail. This is how you lock in the correct answer and get those points.
All right, so you've got your 3 weapons, skimming, scanning, and close reading. Awesome. But how do you actually use them when the pressure's on? Let's dive in and decode some of the absolute trickiest question types, and I'll show you how to sidestep the most common traps.
Let's kick things off with the one everybody hates. True, false, not given. I mean, on the surface it looks simple enough. True means the text says yes. False means the text says no. And not given means, well, the text doesn't say anything about it at all. But trust me, this is where things get really, really tricky.
And here they are, the classic traps. The absolute biggest mistake is mixing up false and not given. People also use their own outside knowledge to answer, which is a huge no-no. You can only use what's written in the text. And then there's this sneaky one, missing a tiny little word like all or some. That one word can change the entire meaning of the sentence.
So, you need a disciplined strategy. Here's how you do it. First, really understand exactly what the statement is saying. Then scan the text to find where it's talked about. Third, switch to close reading and compare. But step 4, this is the real lifesaver. If you just can't find the information, mark not given, and, this is the important part, move on. Don't let one tough question sink your entire test.
Okay, next on the list, matching headings. Want to know the number 1 mistake here? People read every single word. They're trying to find an exact match between the heading and the paragraph. But the test is designed to trick you. It uses similar sounding headings, and it expects you to find synonyms, not the exact same words.
Now I've got a game-changing strategy for you on this one. You ready? Do these questions first. Seriously, why? Because it forces you to skim every paragraph right at the start. It's like creating a mental map of the whole text, which makes every other question that much easier. Just read the first and last sentence of the paragraph, summarize the main idea in your head, and then pick the heading that fits your summary.
Another tricky one is summary completion, the fill in the blanks.
The traps here are all about the little details. People miss that the summary is using synonyms. They pick a word that grammatically just doesn't work. Or they totally forget there might be a word list to choose from.
A systematic approach is your best friend here. First, and don't skip this, read the instructions. What's the word limit? Then, skim the summary to get the general vibe. Here's a pro tip. Try to predict the type of word you need for the blank. Is it a noun, a verb, an adjective? This makes finding the right word so much easier. And finally, always give it a quick grammar check.
Okay, let's talk about something that is 100% gonna happen. You're reading along, and bam, you hit a word you've never seen before. It happens to everyone. So, what's the single most important thing to do in that moment? Just don't panic.
And really, this gets to the heart of the whole test. Your goal isn't to be a walking dictionary, it's to understand. I mean, think about it. You can almost always figure out what a sentence means even if you don't know every single word. Context is everything.
So here's your plan for when you hit one of those unknown words. First, ask yourself, do I actually need this word to answer the question? You'd be surprised how often the answer is no. If you do need it, use the rest of the sentence to make an educated guess. And if you're still stuck, the rule is simple. Move on. Don't let one word eat up your precious time.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, the skills, the strategies, the traps, so let's pull it all together into a final game plan. Think of this as your ultimate checklist for test day success.
Here we go, your final checklist. Number 1, read the instructions every single time. 2, start with the questions you find easiest. It's a great way to build confidence. 3, be a ruthless time manager. Don't get stuck. 4, watch out for spelling when you transfer your answers. And number 5, this is non-negotiable, never leave an answer blank. You don't lose points for wrong answers, so a guess is always, always better than nothing.
At the end of the day, crushing this test isn't about some kind of magic trick. It's about skill and it's about strategy. And now, you have the whole toolkit. You have everything you need. So the only question left is, are you ready to get out there and start practicing?